Nick, much like we discuss in football, it's going to take some time for new teams to figure out who they are, who they want to be, and who they will eventually become. What happened in this game last night?
Well, on the Clippers side of things, it looked a hell of a lot like the Clippers of last year, but just with a league MVP caliber player in Kawhi Leonard, who last night, you tweeted it after the first half, seeing it was true after the second half as well, was the best player on the court last night. He was sensational. The Clippers' bench mob was great. Their defense was very good. And Kawhi, particularly in that marvelous second quarter, was hitting difficult shot after difficult shot, mid-range shot after mid-range shot. Didn't really matter what the defense was. That was the Clippers side of things. To me, that is a lot more standard, if you will, than what we saw from the Lakers. Because what you saw from the Lakers, they can say it's one game, and it is one game, and it is early, and they do have to gel. All that's true. What you saw from the Lakers, though, was much more concerning in this regard. The Lakers have one path to being the team they're supposed to be, the team they can be. And that path is having two of the 8 best players in the world, Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And last night, LeBron James did not look like that, did not play like that, and he was careless with the ball. He was inefficient from the field. He was almost non-existent in the second half. And the reality for LA is, if LeBron is not still an all-NBA, top 8 league MVP candidate guy, then they don't have any path to getting to where they want to get to. You don't want to overreact to one game, and you don't want to overreact to Anthony Davis being a little non-existent in the second half, losing to the Clippers even though they didn't have their second best player. But that was a poor showing by the Lakers, most notably LeBron, and an excellent job by the Clippers, without their second best player, Paul George.
Yeah, I think we have to be careful as far as the NBA, Jenna. We're seeing player movement like never before. LeBron talked about the new NBA is back. That's with the duos compared to what we've seen as far as people teaming up since he's went to Miami, as far as 3 players, star players being on one team. So 43.6% of all the players in the league, player movement, new players. So LeBron has always gotten off to a slow start. So I can understand what you're saying in last night's game, but every time he's transitioned, and I know this is his second year with the Lakers, but this team is transitioning. To getting this team to where they are, him and AD have not spent a lot of time. To me, AD got physically a little bit tired. He got worn out. Yeah. They tried to run the offense to him at the beginning of the game, and it was exciting. He is a monster, but it's the first game of the season. He's not in conditioning to be able to have that type of workload. So, for me, great win by the Clippers. They played closer to the style for which they played. Their bench contributed 60 points, right?
Yes.
And they averaged 50 last year. They were the only NBA team last season to average 50. So to say that we were surprised, no, we can't say we're surprised. But as good as this Clipper team without Paul George, that to me was the overall surprise.
The 60-19 was the bench scoring in this game. And understand, of course, the Lakers without Kuzma, who's going to be part of, I think in the beginning, their bench scoring. But Frank Vogel also...
Kuzma and Rondo.
And Rondo. And the reason I bring up Kuzma is because Kuzma, I think, is going to be their leading scorer off the bench. Rondo more of a facilitator off the bench. But this is where the Clippers, to me, are vulnerable, is as great as they are defensively, they do not have a real rim protector. Montrezl Harrell is a hell of a player, but given his size, he's not a rim protector. You saw the Lakers and Anthony Davis taking advantage of that in the first half and totally unable to take advantage of it in the second half. And again, it is October 23rd. I am not going to overreact to any of this, but it is critically important for the Lakers that they get off to a good start given the way their schedule falls this year. And when we talk about the West being as jam-packed at the top as we think it's going to be, you're going to have 4 battles with the Clippers this year. You got one of them when they didn't have Paul George. You were up a dozen points instantly, and then aside from a flurry at the end of the third quarter, the Lakers never really played well from that moment forward.
But the narrative around LeBron James coming into the season opener was he's had his longest offseason to rest. He finally has veterans around him. He doesn't have to spend the offseason even getting these guys to figure out how to play team basketball. You know, and he was in the right mindset because he almost handpicked who he sort of wanted on this team. Are you surprised that you didn't have the showing that you thought you'd get from LeBron?
No, Jenna, because LeBron has gotten off 2 slow starts. The NBA, in trying to understand the players, it's a little more difficult for a player like LeBron because sometimes he's playing the power forward. Sometimes he's the 3. Sometimes he's the point guard. So facilitating, when do I try to put my thumbprint on the game. All those things are very, very difficult at the beginning. There are certain games LeBron will just say, I'm going to take over. Typically, he defers to his teammates. I'm going to try to get them involved. But I'm just going to say to the people, I know it's logical. LeBron James, 8 out of the last 9 years, he's played until the middle of June. So he had off June last year and off most of the spring. Oh, he's going to be fresher. You can't prove that. No one can prove that. People just saying, oh, he's going to be fresher. This dude been in the league 17 years. There's a lot of tread on those tires. And us just automatically thinking, oh, because he was off in the playoffs, he's going to be fresher. To me, I don't subscribe to that theory because I don't believe it, and I know people cannot prove it. It sounds good when you say it, but when you really look at it, old is old.
Well, fresh or not, what is definitely true is the turnovers, and he talked about it after the game. The turnovers, most notably in the second half, were unacceptable because it wasn't like he's going to the basket and gets a charging foul. That's a turnover. It was being too casual with the basketball, and you showed in the highlight the beautiful fadeaway jumper he hit to open the game. That's the only shot outside of 15 feet he hit the whole night. So his shot was a little off. He was casual with the basketball, and the Clippers, listen, Kawhi's obviously their best player, and when Paul George comes back, he will be their best player. But this team takes on the personality of Patrick Beverley, and it has for a couple years now. Beverley is an absolute menace, and you saw that infectious energy throughout the rest of that Clippers team once again, like you did last year in the playoff series against the Warriors.
And
love Patrick Beverley. He is scrappy. But I got to give credit to Doc Rivers. Every Doc Rivers team plays like Patrick Beverley. Now, it's a perfect match.
Yes.
Patrick Beverley, and he's got the backup. All right? Because you can be as tough as you want to if you don't have like-minded people, like-minded organizations. So Patrick Beverley probably is feeling more empowered than ever before in his career. And their roles, they don't change that much. That's why Kawhi or Paul George was such a great fit for the Clippers. Their other players, just do exactly what you were doing. They got those 60 points off the bench. That's what they've been doing the last couple years.
All right, so the Clippers beat the Lakers. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.